Hello interwebs, welcome to Let's Build Computers. Today we're doing the subjective review of the EVGA GeForce GTX 980 Ti Kingpin. That's a long name for a product. However, I tell you, this thing looks fancy as hell. This is the box it comes in, which as you can see is this lovely presentation here. Now EVGA are very well known for the presentation of their products, and if we just open this up, the first thing we get is these things are Christmas when you open them. We've got a t-shirt here, which comes in XL size. What have we got here? This looks dangerously like a poster. Let's check this out. So yeah, EVGA poster. And then as you can see, we've got another selection of various other bits and bobs here. Leaflets for other EVGA products. We've got various quick start guides in various languages. We've got some EVGA enthusiast built stickers so you can deck out your rig. We've got the display driver CD there. Now, all of these things here, we've got 1,000,001 different adapters. So let's just quickly blitz through these first of all. Right, we've got an 8-pin power adapter. This is twin 6-pin to single 8-pin. We have another dual 6-pin to 8-pin. Dual Molex to single 6-pin. We've got a single slot backing plate, so if you're going to water cool this card, you can convert it to a single slot cooler. That's a really nice touch, I like that. We've got a mini DisplayPort to HDMI adapter. Another mini DisplayPort to full-size DisplayPort adapter. Mini DisplayPort to full-size DisplayPort again. Mini DisplayPort to DVI, and that's DVI-I as well, so it's a full fat DVI connector there. And then finally we've got the token gesture DVI to VGA, just in case you're a pleb and still use a VGA monitor. And finally, just because it wouldn't be without it, we've got a cool case badge as well. This is a really nice metallic case badge, that's quite nice that. And let's just pull out the actual component. This thing weighs a ton. This is really heavy. Wow. This thing is enormous. Pedigree. Now, for those of you who don't know, Kingpin is an overclocking world record holder. He's one of those guys who takes a graphics card and will overclock the nuts off of it, setting the highest scores ever seen in benchmarks like 3D Mark. And he has specially worked with EVGA to develop this one. They've put in all of the features that he uses. So if we do a quick walk around here, you can see for starters, we've got this massive 8 heat pipe all copper cooling system that spans the entire surface of the card. And that's combined with these twin 100mm blowers that are just pure silence at idle and devastatingly effective at high speed. We move around to the back, we've got DVI-I output, we've got HDMI, and we've got triple DisplayPort outputs. And at the back, we start seeing the little things that just make this card a bit different. Starting off with these triple power inputs, twin 8-pin and 6-pin power inputs. Then we've got this little dip switch here. This controls, I don't know, it's 3 BIOSes. You can flash this thing with 3 different overclocking profiles. You've got your normal set and you've got 2 overclocked profiles. So you can be sitting there testing this thing, and when you need to, you can switch back into normal mode for reliability and just to get the thing up and running, so you will never be sure of a goosed or bricked card. Moving along, we've got this pin out here. These pins, those are direct lines to the power systems in this graphics card. You can connect up your voltmeter to these and it will tell you exactly how many volts are running to your GPU core. So you can monitor everything as you get those last few megahertz out of the clock to keep things ultra stable. Of course, we've got the token gesture Sli connectors. So just in case you're really mad, you can have a couple of these connected up. You can only have 4 of them though, because you're only allowed 4 per household of this graphics card. That's how rare this thing is. They will actually limit how many you're allowed to own. And of course on the back we've got this fantastic looking all metal backplate that just keeps all of those power regulators cool. We've also got a couple of status LEDs on the back. Up here we've got the profile is currently set to, so you can see whether you're on one of your alternate biases or not. And this is all fully backlit, so this logo here, this all lights up. And all of the LEDs that we've got on here, this one, the status LED for the label here, and the EVGA and Kingpin logo, these all light up and you can fully customize through any RGB color in the spectrum exactly what color they want to be. So if you're doing a proper themed build, this thing will just sit in there with any colors you want to really fly the flag of your build. So let's get this thing fitted into a badass system and see what it's got. The system we're now testing in is an Intel i7-4790K with 32GB of Kingston HyperX FuryX RAM, the EVGA GeForce GTX 980 Ti Kingpin Edition, and an Asus Sabertooth Z97 Model S. It's cooled by a Corsair H110i water cooling system with a 280mm radiator. The power system is coming from a Corsair RM750i power supply, and it's all housed in an NZXT H440 case. So on our initial results running at stock speed with no fiddling whatsoever, we've already nailed out 15653 on the 5-strike 1.1 test in 3D Mark. Now to put things in perspective, this already tops a stock 980, and in fact it also tops a Titan X. So on stock speeds we've already smashed what's widely considered to be the fastest graphics card in the world. And in addition to that, based on 3D Mark's general scoring system, we are not a far cry from their 4K gaming PC ratings, and that is running dual 980s. So with a little bit of work, on a single card here we could probably touch on an SLI setup of 980s. Okay, so far with a token gesture overclock I've managed to get to 162,000 in Firestrike. However, I've hit a complete brick wall on it now. It's only about 100 MHz over its stock speed and I cannot get it any further. Now this is a notorious problem with 980 Ti's and also with 780 Ti's, where you get that little bit of boost and then that's it, brick wall, can't go any further. So now is the time when you start messing with the BIOS, and that's where this card really starts coming into play. The next move is to upload a custom BIOS to the graphics card that allows us to turn the target power consumption up even higher. That allows us to hold higher overclocks and higher timings. The great thing about this graphics card is you don't need to, because what we can do is we can switch this little dip switch over to OC. We immediately get the orange indicator light on top, and that now means that we can run a 150% power consumption, and that then means it will automatically hold higher boost speeds on the clocks. We can also switch it one notch further over to LN2, which more or less unlocks everything and applies a little bit of overvoltage. However, at that point, the card will assume that you're using dry ice or some other kind of crazy cooling system. So we're not going to change over to that while we're on the stock cooling. Now, if you want to, you can upload a custom BIOS over the top of one of these profiles. And if you do that to the OC profile and accidentally have a problem where the card becomes bricked, you can switch back to normal mode, reboot your computer and reflash your bricked BIOS without losing the card. So this is a very, very safe card to be messing around with. Alright, so far so good, it seems to be happy again, so we'll let it complete this test, then we'll just let the card start chewing through a little bit more power just to support the extra load we're putting on it. We have 16277. Now this score is only fractionally higher than our previous one, but it proves to point that we're now past that brick wall that you normally hit with 980 Ti's. And so now we're ready to start pushing forward to higher numbers, and we haven't even had to flash the card with anything. We're only using its built-in features, whereas most cards at this point you'd be having to start doing scary BIOS flashes and things like that. So as you can see, from the token overclocks that we got on normal mode, this graphics card can actually seem very ordinary on its normal profile setting. If anything, when I first got started with it, I was, if anything, slightly disappointed by how little I could do with it. But as soon as you start switching on those overclocking BIOS profiles, that's when everything starts making sense. That's the point where you start realizing that this card is more than just a 980 Ti. It's in fact an engineering masterpiece for the people who are really chasing the high numbers. If you are moving on to more extreme methods like dry ice cooling, this card even has additional safeguards for that. As well as all the extra pinouts it has for monitoring, it also has built-in card warmers, which means the biggest enemy with dry ice cooling is condensation. And the great thing on this card is that you can keep the GPU at sub-zero temperatures, and the rest of the card actually has a built-in warmer to prevent condensation from forming on the other components, which is just simply astonishing. So this card goes well beyond what I can actually test for you today, but this little walk around just gives you an idea on what this card is all about. So I hope you found it interesting, and if you're interested in buying one, then I wish you the best of luck with it, because it is the most bonkers card I've ever encountered. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye for now.